The shoebox sits on my lap like a loaded gun. My name is Faith, and tonight I'm about to destroy my family. The irony isn't lost on me that we're celebrating my mother's 48th birthday at Chez Laurent, the same restaurant where she used to take me for special occasions when I was little, back when I still believed she loved me more than she loved herself. Faith, honey, you've been so quiet tonight, Mom says, her freshly injected lips curving into what passes for a smile these days. Are you feeling all right? I adjust the black leather box on my lap, feeling the weight of $48,000 in cash inside. Sequential bills, each one stamped with a single word in red ink. Retribution. I'm perfect, Mom, just waiting for the right moment. Dad shifts uncomfortably in his seat, loosening his tie. He's been nervous all evening, though he doesn't know why yet. Alexandra, my 20-year-old sister, scrolls through her phone between bites of her salmon. She looks so much like Mom did at that age, before the surgeries, before the lies became a lifestyle. Well, I have to say, this has been the most wonderful birthday, Mom continues, her voice carrying that practiced sweetness she uses when she wants something. Having my whole family together like this, it's everything I could ask for. Grandma Vienna sits across from me, her weathered hands folded neatly on the table. At 72, she's the only one here who remembers what Mom was like before she became Trisha, the trophy wife. Grandma's phone rests beside her water glass, screen dark but ready. Actually, Mom, I brought you something special. I lift the shoebox slightly. A birthday gift that's been 4 years in the making. Alexandra finally looks up from her phone. Ooh, what is it? Designer shoes? Something like that. I stand, the box cradled in my arms like a newborn. But first I want to make a toast. Dad raises his wine glass automatically, the way he's been trained to do for the past 23 years of marriage. Mom beams, probably expecting some heartfelt speech about gratitude and family bonds. To my mother, I begin, my voice steady and clear. Who taught me that family is everything, that we should always put each other first, that we should never, ever steal from the people we love. Mom's smile falters, just slightly, but I catch it. Faith. Dad starts, but I cut him off, especially when those people are 17 years old and trusting you with their entire future. I set the shoebox on the table with a soft thud. Happy birthday, Mom. The silence stretches like a taut wire. Mom stares at the box as if it might explode, which, in a way, it will. What is this? She whispers. Open it. Her manicured fingers tremble as she lifts the lid. The cash sits in neat stacks, rubber-banded and organized. Underneath, a manila envelope thick with documents. And on top of everything, a single sheet of paper with my handwriting. For services unrendered. Every penny you stole from my college fund, with interest. I hope your new face was worth it. Mom's wine glass slips from her hand, red liquid spreading across the white tablecloth like blood. Dad chokes on his drink, coughing violently. Alexandra's mouth falls open. Faith, what the hell? Alexandra starts. $48,000, I announce, loud enough for the neighboring tables to hear. That's how much she took from my college savings account when I was 17. Forged my signature, told everyone I decided to take a gap year, when really she spent my future on plastic surgery and designer handbags. That's not... I would never... Mom stammers, but her face has gone pale beneath her foundation. Grandma Vienna picks up her phone and starts recording. Keep going, sweetheart! The envelope contains copies of every forged withdrawal slip, every bank statement, every receipt I could track down, including the one from Dr. Townsend's office for your breast augmentation, paid for with my money. Dad's face crumples. Trisha, tell me this isn't true. But Mom can't speak. She's staring at the money like it's a snake about to strike. I lean forward, my hands flat on the table. You humiliated me, made me look like a failure who couldn't even get into college. Let me struggle with debt and shame while you paraded around in your new body, bought with my dreams. Faith, please. For services unrendered, Mom. I straighten up, smoothing my dress. I'll never let you rob another daughter again. The restaurant has gone quiet around us. Other diners pretend not to stare while obviously hanging on every word. Mom looks around frantically, realizing her perfect public image is crumbling in real time. As chaos erupts across the table, Dad demanding answers, Alexandra crying, Mom hyperventilating, I allow myself the smallest smile. This is only the beginning. 4 years earlier, I was 17 and stupid enough to believe my mother loved me. I remember the exact moment everything changed. It was a Tuesday in March, and I was supposed to be at soccer practice. Instead, I'd come home early with a migraine, creeping through the back door so I wouldn't disturb Mom's afternoon routine. That's when I heard her voice drifting from the kitchen, honey-sweet and conspiratorial. No, I understand the payment schedule, she was saying into her phone. The consultation fee, then the surgery deposit. Yes, I can have the full amount by Friday. I froze in the hallway, my backpack sliding off my shoulder. It's not like she's going to need it right away, Mom continued with a laugh. College is still over a year away, and honestly, state schools are so much more practical these days. My blood turned to ice water. She was talking about my college fund, the account Dad and I had been building since I was 12, every birthday check and summer job paycheck carefully deposited for my future. Trust me, Dr. Townsend, this is an investment in my family's happiness. A confident mother is a better mother, right? I backed toward the door, but my shoe squeaked against the hardwood. The conversation stopped abruptly. Faith? Is that you, honey? I had 2 choices, run or confront. 17-year-old me chose confrontation. Mom, what were you talking about? She appeared in the kitchen doorway, phone pressed against her chest, her smile too bright. Oh, just boring adult stuff. Why aren't you at practice? What did you mean about my college fund? Her laugh was like breaking glass. Sweetie, you're being paranoid. I was talking to the bank about refinancing the mortgage. You mentioned Dr. Townsend. That's not a bank. Faith, really? You're 17. You don't understand how family finances work. She moved past me toward the stairs. Sometimes parents have to make difficult decisions for the good of everyone. I followed her. What kind of decisions? She spun around, and for just a second, her mask slipped. I saw something cold and calculating in her eyes that I'd never noticed before. The kind that aren't your business. That night, I logged into my savings account for the first time in months. The balance that should have been 48,247 showed 0.00. Account closed due to insufficient funds. I printed the statements with shaking hands. The withdrawals had started 3 months earlier. Small amounts at first, $500 here, $200 there. Then bigger chunks. The final withdrawal, made just 2 days ago, cleaned out everything that remained. Every single withdrawal slip bore a signature that looked like mine but wasn't quite right. The F in Faith was too loopy. The L in Lewis had an extra flourish I'd never made. I confronted her the next morning at breakfast. Dad had already left for work, and Alexandra was still asleep. I know what you did. Mom didn't even look up from her coffee. What are you talking about now? I slammed the bank statements on the table. You stole my college money. She glanced at the papers, then at me, completely calm. I borrowed against your account for a family emergency. I'll pay it back. What emergency? And why didn't you ask me? Because you're a child, Faith. This is my house and these are adult decisions. It's my money. I earned most of it myself. She stood up, towering over me in her silk robe. Nothing in this house belongs to you. Nothing. Your father and I provide everything. Your food, your clothes, your roof. That money was always ours. That's not how college funds work, and you know it. Lower your voice. Her tone turned dangerous. You're being dramatic and ungrateful. I've sacrificed everything for this family. By stealing from your own daughter. She slapped me, not hard, but the shock of it left me speechless. I didn't steal anything. I made a strategic financial decision. And if you keep running your mouth about this, you'll find out exactly how much I've been protecting you from. I touched my cheek, staring at her. This woman who'd read me bedtime stories and cheered at my soccer games had just hit me for asking about my own money. You can't do this. Watch me. She picked up her phone. In fact, let me make this easier for everyone. I'm calling your guidance counselor today to let her know you've decided to take a gap year. Give you time to mature and figure out what you really want. No! I got into Northwestern. I have scholarships pending. Had scholarships pending, past tense. She smiled, and it was the cruelest expression I'd ever seen. Don't worry, sweetheart. Community college builds character. 2 weeks later, she came home from her health retreat, looking like a completely different person. New breasts, new nose, new chin. She told everyone she'd been at a spa in Arizona, recovering from exhaustion. The neighbors complimented her glow. Dad said she looked 10 years younger. Alexandra asked if she could get her nose done too when she turned 18. And I sat in my room, acceptance letters scattered around me like broken dreams, planning my escape. I left home on a Thursday night in August with nothing but a duffel bag and my laptop. Northwestern had held my spot despite the delayed enrollment. My guidance counselor, Mrs. Rodriguez, had made some calls after I showed up at school with bank statements and a story that made her cry. Full merit scholarship plus work study. I'd be broke, but I'd be free. Mom found my note the next morning. Gone to college. Don't look for me. She didn't. My dorm room was a shoebox I shared with a girl named Jenny, who collected vintage band posters and ate cereal for every meal. I worked in the campus library 20 hours a week, tutored calculus on weekends, and picked up freelance web design jobs whenever I could find them. You're going to burn out, Jenny warned me one night, watching me code at 2 a.m. while she painted her nails black. Can't burn out if you never slow down, I muttered, squinting at my screen. That's how I met Caden. He messaged me through a freelancer platform about building a website for his friend's food truck business. We ended up on a video call that lasted 3 hours, talking about everything except web design. So, you're basically working 3 jobs while taking 18 credit hours? He asked, his face pixelated on my ancient laptop screen. 4 jobs if you count tutoring separately. That's insane. What's driving you? I almost told him the truth right then. Something about his voice, warm but not pushy, made me want to spill everything. Instead I said, student loans are a nightmare. Fair enough. Well, this project pays well, and I've got more where it came from if you're interested. Caden became my lifeline. Not romantically. We were both too busy and too guarded for that. But as the one person who understood the hustle. He was working his way through grad school, building apps and websites for small businesses while studying computer science. You should think bigger, he told me during one of our late-night work sessions over video chat. Stop taking one-off projects. Build something scalable. Like what? I don't know yet, but you're too smart to be coding wedding websites forever. The answer came during my junior year when the pandemic hit. Suddenly, every small business in America needed to go digital overnight. Restaurants needed online ordering systems. Retail shops needed e-commerce platforms. Service providers needed virtual booking systems. I called Caden at midnight on a Tuesday. I know what we're building, I said without preamble. Hello to you too. What time is it? A virtual operations platform. One-stop shopping for small businesses to get online. Templates, payment processing, inventory management, customer service integration. Everything. Silence on the other end. Then, that's actually brilliant. How fast can you build a prototype? Give me 2 weeks. I didn't sleep for 14 days. Jenny brought me energy drinks and leftover pizza while I coded like my life depended on it. Which, in a way, it did. The platform launched 3 months later. We called it Quick Shift Solutions. Within 6 months, we had 200 clients. Within a year, we had 2,000. Faith, we need to talk about scaling, Caden said during one of our weekly check-ins. He was calling from his apartment in Seattle, where he'd moved after graduation. I'm listening. We're making serious money now, like life-changing money. You could quit school. I'm not quitting school. Why not? You're already running a successful business. Because I needed that degree. Because I needed to prove to myself, and to Mom, wherever she was, that I could finish what I started, that she hadn't broken me. I graduate in December. I can handle both for 6 more months. Okay, but we need to incorporate. Get proper legal protection. And Faith? Yeah? You should probably tell your family you're not actually a broke college student anymore. I laughed, but it came out bitter. My family thinks I'm taking a gap year to find myself. They have no idea I'm even in school. Wait, what? It's been 3 years. 3.5, and they've never called, never texted, never asked how I'm doing. That's... Wow, I'm sorry. Don't be. It's better this way. But it wasn't. Really. Sometimes I'd see other students FaceTiming their parents, complaining about professors or sharing good grades, and I'd feel this hollow ache in my chest. I'd check social media and see photos of Mom and Alexandra at spa days or shopping trips, looking like the perfect mother-daughter duo. Mom had gotten more work done. Her Instagram was full of selfies with captions about living your best life and investing in yourself. She looked like a completely different person from the woman who'd raised me. I graduated summa cum laude on a grey December morning. The ceremony was small due to COVID restrictions. I sat alone in the audience section reserved for families, watching my classmates hug their parents and pose for pictures. My phone buzzed with a text from Caden. Proud of you? Ready to take over the world now? I typed back. Almost. One more thing to take care of first. That night, I started researching private investigators. The private investigator's name was Marcus, and he looked exactly like you'd expect. Rumpled suit, coffee stains, and the weary expression of someone who'd seen too much human ugliness. You want me to investigate your own mother? He asked, leaning back in his squeaky office chair. I want documentation, legal documentation of financial fraud committed against a minor. How long ago are we talking? 4 years, but I have bank statements, and I need someone who knows how to make them stick in court if necessary. Marcus whistled low. Statute of limitations might be an issue, depending on the state. But let's see what you've got. I spread the papers across his desk like tarot cards revealing a dark future. Bank statements, withdrawal slips, account closure notices, the paper trail of my stolen dreams. These signatures, Marcus said, squinting through riding glasses. They're close, but not perfect. See here? The pressure's different. The angle of the pen. Can you prove they're forgeries? With the right handwriting expert? Absolutely. What else you got? I pulled out my phone and showed him screenshots of Mom's social media from that time period. Her transformation documented in real time, the subtle changes week by week, then the dramatic reveal after her health retreat. Cosmetic surgery's expensive, Marcus noted. You're talking $40,000, $50,000 minimum for this level of work. $48,000! That's exactly what was in my account. Convenient coincidence. He made a note. I'll need a few weeks to dig deeper. Bank records, medical records if I can get them legally, maybe some interviews with people who knew your family then. Whatever it costs. 3 weeks later, Marcus called me back to his office. This time his desk was covered with folders thick enough to choke a horse. Your mother's been busy, he said without preamble. The good news is I can prove fraud. Prove. The bad news is it's worse than you thought. He opened the first folder. Forged signatures on 17 separate withdrawal slips. I had a handwriting expert analyze them. She'll testify in court that these weren't signed by the same person who signed your school enrollment forms. What's the bad news? She didn't just steal from you. Marcus opened another folder. Your sister, Alexandra, has a college fund too. Smaller amounts, but there's been activity. Withdrawals starting about 6 months ago. My stomach dropped. How much? 8,000 so far. Small enough that a 20-year-old might not notice, especially if she's not checking regularly. I stared at the papers, feeling sick. She's doing it again. Gets worse. I found records of your mother opening credit cards in your name when you turned 18. She's been making minimum payments, but there's about 12,000 in debt she racked up that first year. What? That's impossible. I would have known. Not if she had the statements sent to a P.O. box, which she did. Marcus slid another document across the desk. Credit report shows 3 cards opened in 2019, all with your social security number, all with a mailing address that's not your family home. I felt like I was drowning. Can she do that legally? Hell no. Identity theft, fraud, forgery. Your mother's committed about 6 different felonies here. Why didn't this show up when I applied for student loans? Because she's been making payments, keeping the accounts current so they wouldn't flag your credit. Smart, in a completely illegal way. I leaned back in my chair, processing. What else? Marcus opened a 3rd folder. This is where it gets interesting. Your mother's been seeing a financial planner, setting up LLCs, moving money around. She's also been meeting regularly with a divorce attorney. She's leaving Dad. Looks like she's preparing to. The attorney specializes in high-asset divorces. Your mother's been building a case that she's entitled to more than half of everything because she sacrificed her career for the family. That's ridiculous. She never had a career. Doesn't matter if the judge believes her story. Marcus pulled out another document. Here's the kicker. She's been having an affair with her plastic surgeon, Dr. Townsend, the same guy who did her work with your college money. I stared at the surveillance photos. Mom and a silver-haired man in an expensive suit, holding hands outside a hotel, kissing in the front seat of his BMW, looking like teenagers in love. How long? At least 2 years, based on what I could document. Probably longer. Does Dad know? If he does, he's a better actor than I thought. I interviewed some of his co-workers. They all think he's got the perfect marriage. I gathered the papers, my hands shaking slightly. What would you do if this was your family? Marcus leaned forward, his expression serious. Kid, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've seen families destroyed by secrets, and I've seen them destroyed by truth. Either way, somebody gets hurt. That's not an answer. The answer is, it depends what you can live with. Can you live with knowing all this and doing nothing? Or can you live with the consequences of exposing it? I stood up, tucking the folders under my arm. How much do I owe you? 3,000. But Faith? He stood too, extending his hand. Whatever you decide to do with this information, be careful. People do desperate things when their whole world's about to collapse. I shook his hand, feeling the weight of evidence against my own mother. Thanks for the warning. Grandma Vienna answered her door in a flour-dusted apron, looking exactly the same as she had when I was 12 and sneaking cookies from her kitchen. Faith! My goodness, child, what are you doing here? Hi, Grandma. Can we talk? She stepped aside, ushering me into the familiar warmth of her living room. The same crocheted afghans, the same family photos on the mantel, though I noticed several recent ones of Mom and Alexandra were conspicuously absent. Sit, sit. I'll make tea. You look thin. I'm fine, Grandma. Actually, I'm doing really well. She paused in the doorway to the kitchen. Are you? Because your mother told everyone you dropped out of college and disappeared, said you were going through a rebellious phase. What would you say if I told you I graduated summa cum laude from Northwestern, and I'm running my own tech company? Grandma Vienna set down her tea kettle with a sharp clink. I'd say that sounds more like the Faith I raised than the story your mother's been telling. Then you'll want to see this. I opened my laptop and showed her Quick Shift's website, our client testimonials, the business articles that had featured us. Her weathered hands traced the screen as she read. 2,000 clients? Faith, this is incredible. Why didn't you tell us? Because Mom told me not to come back. Because she stole my college fund and spent it on plastic surgery. Because she's been lying to everyone for 4 years. Grandma Vienna sank into her recliner, suddenly looking every one of her 72 years. Tell me everything. I did. The whole story, from the overheard phone call to Marcus's investigation. I showed her the bank statements, the forged signatures, the photos of Mom with Dr. Townsend. When I finished, Grandma Vienna was quiet for a long time, staring at the evidence spread across her coffee table. I knew something was wrong, she finally said. Your mother changed after that surgery, got secretive, started lying about little things, and the way she talked about you, like you were an embarrassment instead of her daughter. She's doing it to Alexandra now, taking money from her account. That girl worships her mother, thinks Trisha hung the moon. Which is why she needs to know the truth. Grandma Vienna picked up one of the surveillance photos, studying Mom's face. What are you planning to do with all this? I want to expose her, publicly, the same way she humiliated me. And you want my help. I want you to be there when it happens, to witness it, to make sure the family knows this isn't just me being vindictive. She was quiet again, then stood up and walked to the mantel. She picked up a photo of Mom from her high school graduation, young, fresh-faced, genuinely smiling. I failed her somehow, Grandma Vienna said softly, raised a daughter who could steal from her own child. This isn't your fault, isn't it? I taught her that image mattered, that what people thought was important. Maybe I created this monster. You didn't create anything. Mom made her own choices. Grandma Vienna turned back to me. What exactly do you want me to do? Mom's birthday is next month. I know Dad's planning something at that fancy restaurant she likes. I want to give her a present she'll never forget. What kind of present? I pulled out my phone and showed her the photos I'd taken at the bank that morning. Stacks of cash, $48,000 in sequential bills, each one stamped with red ink. Every penny she stole, with interest, plus copies of every document proving what she did. In public? In front of the whole family. In front of everyone. Let her explain to Dad why his wife's been stealing from their children and cheating on him with her plastic surgeon. Grandma Vienna studied the photos, then looked at me with something that might have been pride. You want me to record it. I want you to make sure there's evidence, so she can't spin this later, can't make herself the victim. This will destroy your family, Faith. Your father, your sister, they'll be devastated. My family was already destroyed. I'm just making sure everyone else knows it. She walked to her kitchen window, looking out at the garden she'd tended for 40 years. Your mother calls me every Sunday, tells me about Alexandra's college classes, about the charity work she's doing, about how proud she is of her family. All lies. I know that now. She turned back to me. But Faith, once we do this, there's no going back. Your sister will hate you. Your father might never forgive you. Are you prepared for that? Are you prepared to watch her do to Alexandra what she did to me? Grandma Vienna was quiet for a long moment. Then she walked to her junk drawer and pulled out her phone. Show me how to work the video camera on this thing. I spent the next hour teaching my 72-year-old grandmother how to record, how to upload to social media, how to make sure the video would be seen by everyone in Mom's carefully curated social circle. One more thing, I said as I was leaving. Don't tell anyone I was here. Let this be a complete surprise. What if she tries to leave? What if she sees what's coming and runs? I smiled, and I knew it wasn't a kind expression. She won't run. She's too vain. She'll think she can talk her way out of it, charm everyone into believing her version of events. And if she can't, then she'll finally understand what it feels like to lose everything. The black leather shoebox cost me $300. Custom-made, with brass corners and a lock that clicked with satisfying finality. Inside, I arranged the money in perfect stacks, sequential bills from the bank, each one stamped with that single red word, retribution. You sure about this? Caden asked over video chat, watching me organize the documents. Once you do this, there's no taking it back. I've been sure for 4 years. I know, but seeing your family implode in real time, that's going to be brutal. I sealed the manila envelope containing every piece of evidence Marcus had gathered. Bank statements, forged signatures, credit reports, surveillance photos of Mom and Dr. Townsend, A complete record of 4 years of lies. They imploded the day she stole my money. I'm just making it visible. What about Alexandra? She's going to be devastated. Alexandra is 20 years old and still thinks Mom hung the moon. She needs to know what she's dealing with before Mom destroys her too. I placed the envelope in the box, on top of the money. The final touch was my handwritten note, the words I'd been composing in my head for years. For services unrendered, every penny you stole from my college fund, with interest. I hope your new face was worth it. Faith. Yeah? I'm proud of you, for surviving this, for building something amazing despite everything she did. Thanks. That means a lot. Call me after, okay? Whatever happens. I promised I would, then spent the rest of the evening getting ready. Black dress, simple but elegant. Hair pulled back in a sleek bun. Minimal makeup. I wanted to look like the successful businesswoman I'd become, not the broken teenager Mom remembered. The restaurant was exactly as I remembered it. Chez Laurent, with its dim lighting and white tablecloths, the kind of place where wealthy people went to see and be seen. I arrived 30 minutes late on purpose, parking across the street where I could watch my family through the large windows. There they were, the perfect family portrait. Dad in his best suit, looking uncomfortable but trying. Alexandra in a floral dress, animated and laughing. Mom at the head of the table in something designer and low-cut, holding court like the queen she believed herself to be. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, watching them. Alexandra showed Mom something on her phone, probably photos from college. Dad refilled wine glasses with the mechanical precision of someone who'd done it 1,000 times. Mom gestured grandly, telling some story that made Alexandra giggle. They looked happy, normal, like the family I'd once thought we were. My phone buzzed with a text from Grandma Vienna. I'm here, sitting 2 tables away. Are you ready? I typed back, ready. Another text. Your father looks nervous, keeps checking his watch. He always does that at restaurants, worried about the bill. Your sister looks beautiful. So young. I stared at that message for a long moment, feeling something twist in my chest. Alexandra did look young and trusting and completely unprepared for what was about to happen. But then, I remembered the bank statements Marcus had shown me. The $8,000 already missing from Alexandra's account. The pattern repeating itself. I picked up the shoebox and got out of the car. The hostess recognized me immediately. I'd made the reservation under my real name, knowing it would get back to Dad. Miss Faith, your family is already seated. Right this way. I followed her through the dining room, past tables full of couples celebrating anniversaries and business deals. The shoebox felt heavier with each step. Dad saw me first, his face lit up with genuine surprise and joy, the way it used to when I was little, and would run to greet him after work. Faith, sweetheart, you made it. Alexandra looked up from her phone, her mouth falling open. Oh my God, Faith! What are you doing here? Mom turned in her chair, and for just a moment, her mask slipped. I saw fear flicker across her features before the practiced smile snapped back into place. Faith, darling, what a wonderful surprise. I approached the table slowly, the shoebox cradled in my arms like an offering. Sorry I'm late. Traffic was murder. Dad stood up to hug me, and I let him. He smelled like the same cologne he'd worn my entire childhood, and for a second I almost lost my nerve. You look incredible, he said, holding me at arm's length. So grown up, so successful. Thanks, Dad. Alexandra was still staring. I can't believe you're here. Mom said you were traveling, working abroad or something. Did she? I looked directly at Mom, who was gripping her wine glass like a lifeline. That's interesting. What else has Mom told you about me? Faith, honey, let's not... Mom started. Actually, let's. I set the shoebox on the table with deliberate care. I brought you a birthday present, Mom. Something I've been working on for a very long time. The restaurant continued buzzing around us, other diners unaware that they were about to witness a family's destruction. Grandma Vienna caught my eye from across the room and gave me the smallest nod. It was time. Open it, I said, my voice cutting through the restaurant's gentle hum. Mom's hands trembled as she lifted the lid. The cash sat there like an accusation, neat stacks bound with rubber bands. Her wineglass slipped from her fingers, red liquid spreading across the white tablecloth like spilled blood. Dad choked on his drink, coughing violently. Faith, what is this? $48,000, I announced, loud enough for neighboring tables to hear. Every penny she stole from my college fund when I was 17. That's not... I would never... Mom stammered, but her face had gone pale beneath her foundation. Alexandra's mouth fell open. What are you talking about? I pulled out the manila envelope, spreading documents across the table like evidence at a trial. Forged withdrawal slips, bank statements, credit card applications she filled out in my name. 4 years of fraud, all documented. Faith, please, you're making a scene, Mom whispered, glancing around at the other diners who were starting to stare. Good. You made me a scene when you told everyone I was a college dropout, when you let me struggle with debt while you paraded around in your new body. Dad grabbed one of the bank statements, his face crumpling as he read. Trisha, tell me this isn't true. Arthur, she's obviously having some kind of breakdown. The signatures, I interrupted, pointing to the withdrawal slips. Look at them, Dad. That's not my handwriting. She forged my name 17 different times. Grandma Vienna's phone was up now, recording everything. Other diners had stopped pretending not to listen. And here's the best part, I continued, pulling out the surveillance photos. Meet Dr. Townsend, Mom's plastic surgeon, also her boyfriend for the past 2 years. The photos scattered across the table, Mom and the silver-haired doctor holding hands, kissing in his car, entering hotels together. Dad stared at the images like he was seeing his own death certificate. Trisha? Those are fake. She hired someone to what? Follow you around for months? Document your affair with the man you paid with my college money? Alexandra was crying now, mascara streaming down her cheeks. Mom, how could you do this? I didn't do anything. Your sister is sick. She's obsessed. $8,000, I said, turning to Alexandra. That's how much she's already taken from your college fund. Small amounts so you wouldn't notice. Alexandra's face went white. What? I pulled out her bank statements, started 6 months ago. Same pattern as mine. She's doing it again, Alex. No, that's impossible. Mom would never. Check your account, right now. Log in and check. Alexandra fumbled for her phone with shaking hands. The table fell silent, except for the sound of her fingers tapping the screen. Her face crumpled as she read. Oh God, it's true. Dad was reading through the credit reports now, his face getting redder with each page. 12,000 in debt? In Faith's name? Trisha, what the hell have you done? I was protecting this family! Mom finally exploded, standing up so fast her chair toppled backward. Do you think success just happens? Do you think people respect you when you look ordinary? So you stole from your own children. I invested in our future, in our image. A beautiful mother reflects well on the whole family. The restaurant had gone completely quiet. Every eye was on our table. You destroyed my future, I said, standing to face her. You humiliated me, made me look like a failure who couldn't even get into college. You were always so ungrateful. Everything I did was for you. For me? You spent my money on breast implants. To be a better mother, to be someone you could be proud of. I was proud of you, before you became this. I gestured at her surgically altered face. Before you became a thief and a liar and a cheat. Mom lunged across the table, trying to grab the photos. You little bitch! You've ruined everything! Dad caught her arm. Trisha, stop! Just stop! She whirled on him. Don't you dare take her side! She's trying to destroy our family! Our family? Dad's voice was deadly quiet. What family? You've been stealing from our children and cheating on me for years. What family is left? Grandma Vienna stood up from her table, phone still recording. Excuse me, everyone. I'm Trisha's mother, and I want you all to know, my daughter is a thief and a liar who stole her own child's future. Mother, sit down! I will not. I raised you better than this, Trisha, and now the whole world is going to know what you really are. She held up her phone. This is going straight to Facebook. Let's see how your book club friends feel about your family values now. Mom looked around the restaurant wildly, realizing her perfect public image was crumbling in real time. Other diners were pulling out their phones, recording the scene. You can't do this to me, she whispered. I'm your mother. You stopped being my mother the day you chose vanity over your own daughter's future. I picked up the shoebox, now empty except for my note. For services unrendered, Mom. I'll never let you rob another daughter again. Mom's face contorted with rage and desperation. You think you've won? You think this makes you better than me? No, I said quietly. It makes us even. She clutched her chest suddenly, her face going grey. I can't breathe. Mom! Alexandra jumped up as Mom swayed on her feet. Call 911! Dad shouted as Mom collapsed, hitting the floor with a sickening thud. The restaurant erupted into chaos. Sirens wailed in the distance. And I stood there, watching my mother writhe on the floor, wondering if revenge was supposed to feel this empty. Mom survived the panic attack, but everything else died that night. The paramedics wheeled her out on a stretcher, while restaurant patrons filmed with their phones. By morning, Grandma Vienna's Facebook video had been shared 3,000 times. The local news picked it up by afternoon. Tech entrepreneur exposes mother's theft at birthday dinner ran on every station in the city. Dad filed for separation the next week. He showed up at my apartment with divorce papers already drawn up and a check for $12,000. For the credit card debt, he said, unable to meet my eyes. I should have known. I should have protected you. Dad. No, Faith. I failed you. I was so busy avoiding conflict that I let her destroy my own daughter's future. He looked older, grayer, like he'd aged 5 years in 5 days. She's staying with Dr. Townsend now. Apparently they've been planning this for months. The affair, the divorce, taking half of everything. I'm sorry. Don't be. You did what I should have done years ago. The Financial Crimes Unit opened an investigation. Mom's lawyer tried to claim the college fund was family money, but the forged signatures were too obvious. She pled guilty to avoid jail time, agreeing to pay restitution and perform community service. The hardest part was Alexandra. She showed up at my door 3 weeks after the dinner, her eyes red from crying. "I hate you," she said without preamble. "I know. You destroyed our family. Mom's a wreck. Dad won't talk to anyone. Everything's ruined." "It was already ruined, Alex. I just made it visible." "She loved us. She made mistakes, but she loved us." "She stole from both of us. She was cheating on Dad. She was planning to leave him anyway." Alexandra slumped against my doorframe. "I don't know what's real anymore. My whole life feels like a lie." "Not your whole life, just the parts she controlled." I let her cry on my couch for 2 hours, then made her favorite grilled cheese sandwiches the way Grandma Vienna used to make them. We didn't talk much, but she didn't leave. "What happens now?" she finally asked. "Now you finish college with your own money, in your own name. You make your own choices instead of trying to please someone who is never going to be satisfied." "I don't know how to do that." "Neither did I. But you figure it out." She stayed for dinner, then came back the next weekend, and the one after that. Slowly, carefully, we started building something that felt like sisterhood. Grandma Vienna moved in with Dad temporarily, helping him sort through 23 years of marriage and lies. She found hidden bank accounts, secret credit cards, receipts for things Mom had bought and hidden. "Your mother was planning to take everything," she told me over coffee one morning. "The house, the retirement accounts, even your father's business investments. She had lawyers, financial advisors, the whole setup. But now? Now she gets nothing. Fraud voids the prenup. Your father's keeping everything, and she's facing bankruptcy." I should have felt satisfied. Instead, I felt hollow. Caden called me every day that first month, checking in. "You okay?" he asked during one of our video chats. "I got what I wanted. Justice, exposure, consequences." "That's not what I asked." I stared at my reflection in the laptop screen. Successful, independent, completely alone. "I keep thinking about that photo on Grandma's mantle. Mom at 18, before she became this. She looked so hopeful, so normal." "People make choices, Faith. You didn't make hers for her." "I know, but I wonder sometimes if there was another way." "There wasn't. You tried talking to her when you were 17. She hit you and threatened you. Some people only understand consequences." The business kept growing. We landed a contract with a major retail chain, then another with a restaurant group. I hired employees, rented office space, started speaking at conferences about entrepreneurship and overcoming adversity. But I never talked about my family. Alexandra graduated with honors and got accepted to law school. She sent me a photo of herself at commencement, smiling genuinely for the first time in months. "Thank you," she texted, "for saving me from becoming her." Dad started dating his accountant, a kind woman named Patricia, who made him laugh again. He seemed lighter, younger, like he'd been holding his breath for 20 years and could finally exhale. Mom tried to contact me once, through a lawyer. She wanted to reconcile and move past this unfortunate misunderstanding. I had my own lawyer send back a single sentence. "Any further contact will be considered harassment." The day I signed the lease on QuickShift's new headquarters, I found myself standing in the empty office space, thinking about 17-year-old me crying over those bank statements. She couldn't have imagined this. The success, the independence, the family slowly healing around the wound Mom had left. My phone buzzed with a text from Caden. "Proud of you. Ready for that European expansion now? I typed back. Ready. Because I was. Ready to build something bigger than revenge. Ready to help other people the way I'd wished someone would help me. Ready to make sure the cycle ended with me. For services unrendered, Mom. I'll never let you rob another daughter again. Starting with myself.